WP. As the first Mars-born human draws his final breath, the Martian God of Death prepares to argue his case for ownership over his soul. Part 2. Gabriel could see Earth Death rolling his eyes again behind Mars Death. He noted the obvious discomfort Earth Death showed when it was mentioned that he wasn't a child of the Earth. This face was definitely true, however. In fact, Gabriel had only been on Earth for 5 years during his university studies, and had spent his entire life on Mars. His birth was celebrated system-wide as the first Martian, and it was a title he had grown proud of as he grew up. "So what does it matter if he takes my soul instead of you?" said Gabriel, making eye contact with Earth Death. "Well, most importantly for you," replied Earth Death, "is the afterlife you go to. As a descendant of man, you should be going to the afterlife of man. Earth's afterlife." This made sense to Gabriel, as he was, in fact, still as human as any of the Earth-born people he had come to know and love during his lifetime. He was a proud Martian, but not one still originating from Earth's soil. Death? Or, the Mars one?" he asked, directing his look towards the still excited-looking being. "So why would you want my soul then? I was just born here, but my line does come from Earth." Mars Death hurriedly replied, his hands fidgeting with his net. "Because it where you soul belong. Mars where you felt home most, when alive. Mars where soul feel home most, not Earth. Mars. Love you, and you first soul in long time. It now time for Mars to claim more soul, now that finally more children. You be first child to follow me. You coming with me mean final stay where you belong, here, on Mars. You Martian, born and always will. Be, in life and dead." "I see," replied Gabriel. The words were still a bit hard to follow, but the gentle touch of Mars Death's voice reminded him of how much he had enjoyed his birth planet in his lifetime. Mars didn't suffer from the pollution of Earth, nor the dark history of mankind's old wars and conquests. The planet, though mostly habitable with many of its rivers flowing with water and terraforming efforts being successful in the last 100 years, was still a relatively harsh environment in comparison to Earth, which made its human inhabitants more welcoming and helpful towards one another. There was no racism or judgment based on your nationality on Mars. It was this beautiful culture of helping and friendliness that made Gabriel feel more a child of Mars than Earth during his lifetime. Maybe he owed it to Mars to fully claim his identity. I think I can agree with that," Gabriel replied, noting Earth Death's now concerned look. He thought for a moment, thinking about what it would mean for him to be the first human birth on Mars, and now the first human of Mars's afterlife. He looked again at Mars, Death examining the strange creature before him. He wondered about the native Martians from millions of years ago that must have known this Death. He must have been shaped in their image of themselves, just like how Earth Death resembled a human's shape and wielded a human tool. "Can I ask another question?" Gabriel spoke. "Follow for part 3.